If you ask me what's the best case scenario for the market into the end of the year, like what would you want to see if you were bullish? I would say this whole narrative about how it's like the top 5 stocks driving the whole market, I would like to see that come to an end and everything else play catch up and start to participate. And that is literally what we've seen take place. We had a breadth thrust a week and a half ago where almost every stock broke back above its 200-day. We now have more S&P 500 components that are up on the year than down on the year for the first time since March. And the FANGs really are doing nothing. Like, I think Alphabet is the best recent performer, but they're not part of this. And you don't need them. So that whole narrative out the window that this is index fund money and it's only Apple driving everything and Microsoft and blah, 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 it's gone. Now you have a broad-based rally. It's not based on nonsense. Companies have rising earnings expectations, almost every sector. You've even got performance out of companies that 6 months ago you could have made a case to me that they would be bankrupt and I would have believed it. You now have those stocks leading the rally on certain days. And when you ask me, like, what else would you want to see besides that? How could things get better? Then I'd point to international stocks. New all-time high for German stocks yesterday. Japan approaching 30-year highs on the Nikkei 225. And you've got emerging markets versus SPY. That ratio chart is now positive. Emerging starting to outperform across the board. So, like, if you're bearish, you're certainly not looking at price. I don't know what you're looking at.
No.
And if you're bullish, you now have everything that you would have wanted to see into year-end.
It seems like, John Najarian, nothing really matters. I mean, for the sake of debate and discussion, I've raised the issue of rising COVID deaths, rising COVID cases. I've raised the issue of very highly valued tech growth stocks. I've raised the issue of no stimulus. I've raised the issue of rising interest rates lately. I've raised the issue of the vaccine rollout timing broadly. And it seems like nothing matters. Nothing at all matters.
Well, and I love when you play devil's advocate like that, Scott. But you and I both know that the stimulus talks have not been this close for a long time. There's that bipartisan agreement for $908 billion. There's also Mitch McConnell moving up to about $600 billion. We've not been that close in forever. Not since the CARES Act, really. Forget about this so-called HEROES Act or whatever they're calling it now, Scott. So I think there's a little optimism about that. Obviously, the rollout of the vaccine, the fact that over in the UK, things are starting to loosen up and so forth, even though their cases are still quite high, and the country's in either 1, 2, or 3, according to their lockdowns. I guess London's at category 2. But in other words, that light at the end of the tunnel, Scott, from the vaccines hitting next week in the UK, perhaps rolling out in the United States very shortly after that, and the fact that that stimulus has been moving up from $600 billion to that $109 billion level. I think those are two really positive things that people are focused on right now as far as catalysts.
Yeah.